Eric Adams, expanding Operation Safe Shopper program amid rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans. Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams, I find it really, really interesting that you are the champion of this program. You are the face of this program, because when some Asian nail shop owners beat up a couple of black women with sticks and threw acid in their faces.
We're out here today because a grandmother came here with her 2 granddaughters to get their nails done. The granddaughter got her nails done, her feet done, and her eyebrows done. She paid for the nails, she paid for the feet. Her eyebrows were messed up, she did not want to pay for them. Eyebrows cost $5, ladies and gentlemen. So because she did not want to pay the $5 for her messed up eyebrows, they attacked this grandmother and her 2 granddaughters.
You were quiet. Not only were you quiet, you ran and you hid. You were due to do live things on News 12 and this, and we could not find you, Mr. Adams. And now, all of a sudden,
2014, on the stairwell of the Pink Houses, was an incident that took place between 2 men. The future depends on the commitment of 2 communities. And we will not allow what took place, that tragedy, to divide and separate our communities. It is too important that the Chinese community and the African American community, 2 communities that have historically went through very challenging and difficult times in America, to allow an incident to drive a wedge between us. The purpose of the meeting today was to send a loud message that no matter what happens at the sentencing, it would not divide our community.
you feel so strongly for the Asian community that you are starting Operation Safe Shopper program. When women that looked like you, see, you walk around here, Mr. Adams, and you sit here and you pump good health to the black community and you pump like you actually care. But when it comes down to our actual safety, you, Mr. Retired Police Officer, Mr. Retired NYPD Officer, you do nothing. But when Asians cry foul, you have a whole Operation Safe Shopper thing going on, Mr. Adams. I find that very interesting, Mr. Adams. You are very reminiscent of another black male leader that we had in this borough, Mr. Ken Thompson. The both of you seem to be very similar. Mr. Ken Thompson did not see the need to exact punishment, justice, for that shooting that happened in the Pink Houses when he murdered our brother in the Pink Houses. Peter Liang murdered our brother, an NYPD officer murdered our brother in the Pink Houses. Ken Thompson is the one who said, you know what, even though the jury came back guilty, Ken Thompson said no jail time.
Breaking news, Brooklyn District Attorney Ken Thompson has died of cancer.
Let me say this. As I watched the video of the defendant entering the lobby of the Pink Houses, I couldn't help but get the impression that he was entering with a serious mind of doing a job of protecting the full of pink houses. Shooting that gun and killing somebody was probably the last thing in his mind, and probably never entered his mind at all. This was not an intentional act. This was an act of criminal negligence. And as such, I find that incarceration is not necessary. And also, as far as the recommendation by the district attorney, for home confinement of 6 months, I find that instead of sitting at home for 6 months and spending money to ensure that he stays at home, I think it will be much more productive if he spent additional time on community service. Accordingly, I sentenced the defendant as follows. On the count of criminally negligent homicide, sentence to the court is 5 years probation plus 800 hours of community service. This is 500 hours that the DA recommended plus another 300 hours. So this will take close to about 5 months in my calculation.
So, Mr. Eric Adams, you are very interesting to me. And I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to play what he says. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams announced that his office will expand a program that launched over 3 years ago amid incidents of hate against Asian Americans. The Operation Safe Shopper program is aiming to get more cameras on the street and hoping to catch incidents of hate on tape. Adams tells News 12 the initiative has already been successful in other parts of Brooklyn, such as East New York and Crown Heights. He says that his office is working with the Brooklyn Community Improvement Association, which will play a part in identifying the best storefront locations, which cameras can be installed facing New York City streets. You know what? In fact, I'm not even going to read that. I'm going to play it.
Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams announced earlier today that he looks to expand the already existing Operation Safe Shopper here in Sunset Park, looking to work with local businesses here, looking to install more of these in the neighborhood.
We're going to find you, we're going to photo you, we're going to identify you, arrest you, and we're going to prosecute you. You will be held accountable. And we're going to start with a $10,000 allocation that would allow us to put in several cameras, install the cameras, turn the cameras towards the street.
This initiative will include help from the Brooklyn Community Improvement Association, hoping to identify ideal storefront locations to install cameras along the busy and bustling 8th Avenue.
It is crucial that we put in place a right deterrence and an immediate response to send a message that is not going to be accepted.
Jimmy Lee, a community leader and organizer of the New York City Alliance for Unity March, says while this is a good step, it's not enough.
I don't think the camera itself will make the community feel safer, but we need more action steps from the state and local leader and national leader.
We could target those areas that are being really hit with the increase in hate crimes in the city, particularly our Chinese community.
So when it comes to this situation, to people that don't look like him, he will find you, he will prosecute you, and he has money allocated to do so. But when it was us, you couldn't even find Eric Adams.
The Chinese American community in New York City is donating thousands of dollars to help Peter Liang. He's a former police officer found guilty of second-degree manslaughter in the shooting of an unarmed Brooklyn resident. CCTV's Li-Ling Tan spoke to one organization hoping the money will help appeal his conviction.
The Lin Sing Association is fronted by a small, inconspicuous doorway on Mott Street in New York City's Chinatown. For decades, this has been the go-to place for many Chinese Americans in need of help. But now, cash and check donations have been pouring in support of former New York police officer Peter Liang.
It's already more than 350,000 until today, more than 350,000.
Eddie Chu heads up the organization and says he has just this week personally given the bulk of the donations to Peter Liang for his legal costs.
around $250,000. It's take care of the attorney fee. My issue is that we raise the money for Peter for legal fee.
Ex-police officer Peter Liang was convicted in February over the 2014 shooting death of Akai Gurley, an unarmed resident of this Brooklyn housing project where Liang was patrolling when his gun went off. The conviction outraged Chinese-American communities across the nation, who say Liang is being used as a scapegoat after other police officers, mostly white men, weren't indicted in similar high-profile cases involving the deaths of unarmed black men. The conviction outraged Chinese-American communities across the nation, who say Liang is being used as a scapegoat after other police officers, mostly white men, weren't indicted in similar high-profile cases involving the deaths of unarmed black men.
I was here 40 years in Chinatown, and we're doing a lot of big cases here. But this time, I can say all the Chinese, everybody is very angry about this case. All the Chinese, everybody is very angry about this case, very angry. A lot of the senior people, they live in the senior housing, they're getting the government's benefit. A lot of the senior people, they live in the senior housing, they're getting the government's benefit. The government's benefit, low income, and everybody come up here to line up $5, $20 every day, long lines here for donate the money to Peter.
Mr. Chu showed me the donor logs, pages and pages of record keeping, as checks continue to come in by mail from across the nation.
HI, I don't know what is it.
Hawaii.
And also Illinois, CA, California. We got all kind of check from all over the country.
Mr. Chu tells me that with these funds, Liang has a new legal team. I've spoken to New York attorney Paul Schechtman, who confirms that Liang has hired him, and Professor Gabriel Jack Chin of UC Davis School of Law. Liang's lawyers have until Tuesday to ask the court to reconsider the conviction. Li Lingtan, CCTV, New York.
I want you guys to sign up for these free text alerts because my posts are being suppressed on every form of social media that I am a part of. My posts are being suppressed on Instagram, they're being suppressed on Facebook, and they're being suppressed on YouTube. On Instagram, they are removing followers, they are purging my followers. And with Facebook, they're just, even if you follow me, they just suppress everything. So sign up for these free text alerts. That way, regardless of their efforts to suppress my posts, you will know because I will personally send you a text message. If you just go to bit.ly/text new post, and it'll take you less than 30 seconds. Just sign up and put your phone number in there, and then I will send you a text when I put up my new news articles for the week. And it'll have a link to the YouTube playlist, the Instagram playlist, and the Facebook playlist. So you can choose whichever social media medium you would like to watch. But this allows me to get around their algorithms, to get around them still suppressing the information from you that have chosen to follow me.